Some people have a tendency to blame the devil for all of the misfortune in their lives when the majority of it simply occurs due to their lack of responsibility and attention. Let's talk about it. Now, those of us that are trying to go on to a more spiritual path, we're well aware of the fact that there are good forces and evil forces in this existence, period. Now, you may refer to the good forces as gods. You may refer to the bad forces as the devil or demons. And that's understandable. However, when we use our lack of attention and responsibility to certain matters as a cop out to say, oh well, the devil did it, that's not living a fruitful life, people. We all know better. When I was a little kid, there used to be a comedy show called The Flip Wilson Show. And yes, Flip, F-L-I-P. For those of you who weren't around, it was in the early 70s. And there might be some of the rebroadcasts of the old show. If you go to YouTube or IMDb, you can check it out. And it was a variety show, and a lot of variety shows were going on then. And Flip Wilson was African-American male, and he was a comedian. And he used to do different sketches and skits, similar to what Dave Chappelle does today. Dress up in different characters, and there was one character in particular, and her name was Geraldine. And he would dress up as Geraldine as a female, and Geraldine was cute, and she was sassy, and she used to have these little catchphrases, and one of the catchphrases she used to say was, "The devil made me do it." Anytime she got caught in a situation, she would sit there and swing her little hips and shake her little head and would say, "The devil made me do it." Now, some of y'all are using this as a mantra, as an excuse for not handling your shit. And you know who you are. My question to you is this. How long do you expect this to go on, and what do you expect to get out of it? There is no way in the world, if you sit there and blame the devil for every single little thing that goes on in your life like you don't have any control over it, and then turn around and expect a blessing from the heavens. Ain't gonna happen, people. Sorry. I know. Some of you are probably already told, okay, I've turned over this new leaf and I've taken on this certain religion or this certain faith, and it involves a lot of long suffering. I don't have a problem against long suffering, but there's no sense of creating more long suffering by ignoring what you're supposed to take care of. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're sitting up here giving the devil too much credit for stuff that really didn't have anything to do with him from the jump. I'll give you a couple of cases in point, and I'm going to let you guys go. For instance, let's say that you found a job that paid a lot of money. You go to the job and come to find out the work conditions aren't that great. They don't obey the labor laws much, and you find yourself working several hours without even getting so much of a break. Got people looking over your shoulder all the time. No matter what you do, it's not good enough. You work 10, 12 hours a day, and then half the time your checks aren't right. Always a lot of confusion going on, probably a lot of turnover where you called in a lot. Takes up a lot of your extra time, but it's a good paying job. And you went ahead and you upgraded your lifestyle to accommodate that high paying job to the point where, okay, you have no choice but to stay there because your obligations require that you stay there because you've upgraded. We have to be careful when we upgrade sometimes because we have to think about that rainy day or that situation where that money may not be around. Are you going to be able to maintain the lifestyle that you have? But we'll talk about that in another audio. You got this job and it's paying all the bills and everything, but the problem is number one, you don't even have time to even enjoy your fruits. The only fruit that you enjoy is the fact that you got a better model car and you live in a better house, but you really don't have time to really enjoy it because you're gone 50, 60 hours a week. Now, if it's a situation where you enjoy doing what you do, that's a different story. I'm talking about the average Joe who feels stuck. Well, you sat up there and you meditated and everything else, and you asked for this job, and you got it. But the thing is that now you're suffering because if you're involved in a relationship or you don't get involved in relationships, you already know that you're not going to be able to give it any time. So you're missing out on good relationships with people. You go to your house with all of your pretty things and everything, but you really don't have time to even clean it the way you want to clean it. You don't have time to organize it the way you want to organize it. You can't even sit home and chill the way you want to chill because you got all these nice things. Your house has become more of a museum than it has become a home. And the car that you drive, you basically spend more time in that as opposed to the home because you're going back and forth to work. And you probably have a job where it requires you to do things off the job that's included in your job description. There's no telling. So you're putting mileage on the car. You have to do more maintenance on the car. So that's more money that's being paid. And you're just hard to contact. And because of that, because you haven't been interacting, because you haven't been enjoying life, you're a bit distant. You're a bit hard to deal with. So the few people that you do have in your life, they don't deal with you very much because your attitude is very short. You're not as nice as you used to be. You don't take time to spend time with people. You forget important dates like weddings and anniversaries and birthdays. You forget those things all because of this high-paying job that you wanted. And finally, something may happen where your hours get cut, or you might get sick and you're in a situation where you are actually at home and you have time to look at the big picture. And you've assessed everything and realized that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And the first thing that you want to say is that, oh, I blame the devil because I've been blessed with this job and the devil's just trying to take it away from me. Okay, that might be possibly true. However, you did ask for this, and you didn't put in any boundaries in regards to what kind of job you wanted. You didn't indicate, specifically what you wanted that job to entail. That job has given you what you wanted in one area, but it has robbed you in other areas. So that's one example. Another one is in regards to relationships. Some of you, when we're out in the dating world, we're walking on faith. Every time you go out into the dating world and you get involved with someone, that is a certain amount of faith, whether it's online or anything else, because people are different. And you have to take time to get to know someone, and you really don't know what you're up for. So, sometimes that turns out to be good, and sometimes that turns out to be bad. So let's say you get involved in a relationship, and let's say that you're a man, that you've got your career settled, you're approaching a certain age, and you want to settle down and have a family. You've already got your money set aside, you've got your schedule organized, you got everything in check, and all you need is that special someone. Well, sometimes people wait too long to the point where they'll just take anything that's breathing. And unfortunately, for some professionals, that's what they do. They wait too long. Too many opportunities have slipped. So their judgment is a little off. So someone comes along with a pretty face and a slick tongue and says everything that you want them to hear, and you're thinking in your mind, boy, this is a blessing, boy, this is a blessing. And that's understandable. But then as you go along, you become so clouded by their charm, you don't pay attention to the red flags. So let's say you go on in a relationship, you date, you get engaged, and eventually you get married. Some people, throughout that whole time, have put up a front for you until they get the ring. And once they get the ring, they become brand new, and they start showing you exactly what you were dealing with. All of a sudden, that person they can't be satisfied no matter what you do. They're always harping on you. They're always picking on you. Or it could be a situation where you had a great sex life before you got the ring, and as soon as that person got the ring, the store is closed. They're too tired and don't want to be bothered. They've gotten what they wanted. So you didn't take the time to figure out what their real intentions were. And sometimes that's hard, because if someone puts up a front like they're all about you and they're on board with everything, sometimes they do it in self-serving energy, and we have to be careful with that. So it's not your fault that you didn't find out about it, But let's just say everything went down and it wasn't cracked up, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. The first thing you want to do is sit there and blame the devil. Well, you've been asking for something. You got it. But you didn't use good judgment when you got it. And now things have gone awry. And the first thing you want to do is say, well, the devil is trying to take so and so and so and so and so and so. The devil was probably already present the whole time. You just didn't acknowledge it. I say this to say this, people. Good and evil forces exist, yes. But the thing is we have to take personal responsibility for some of the things that are going on in our lives. And sometimes we will invest ourselves in certain situations or in certain people or in certain places in hopes that everything turn out fine. But if we're not paying attention to the red flags and we're not paying attention to the things that don't add up and things fall apart, we can't turn around and blame the devil. What we need to do is clean up the mess the best that we can, dust ourselves off, take what we can learn from it so we won't do it again, and move on. That's the only solution. The devil is not to blame for every single little thing. And some of you need to understand that. Just saying.